Bill Tate Sr. began his wrestling career through encouragement he received from the director at the YMCA. That encouragement that Tate received later led to a volunteer wrestling coaching career at the Boys and Girls Club in Waterloo.
Went down, took a look at the situation, and decided that if they wanted to go to tournaments, they were going to need to polish up on some of their wrestling skills. And that's how I got involved with the Boys Club.
Tate volunteered at the club from 1971 until 1980. During that time, the club received the National Boys Club Wrestling Championship trophy twice. He had 10 national youth champions and had 4 wrestlers compete at the World Championships. He credits much of his team's success to community and parental support he received.
And I had a tremendous amount of parental help. Volunteers, they would volunteer with me.
During that 9-year period, Tate worked with over 100 youth wrestlers throughout the Cedar Valley. One of his main motivations was to help students use wrestling as a stepping stone to get into college. Tate knew that if the students could be successful on and off the mat, that would translate to success later in their life.
I used to tell my wrestlers, that success was directly related to effort. That's what I would tell them. The more effort you put in, quite possibly the more success you would have.
As a community volunteer coach, Tate was a part of many successful wrestling careers in the area. Yet he saw his volunteering as something he did for his family. In 1979, he received the Saratoma Award.
Achieving a goal of service to mankind. And I was really, really astonished. I was surprised, that no, I wasn't doing this for accolades. I was doing this because I enjoyed it, And my 2 boys wanted me to do it. They wanted me to help, and that's how it really blossomed from that.
Bruce Woolsey began his wrestling career at Orange High School the same year the school started a wrestling team. Woolsey was recruited by Coach Ron Burnell as a lightweight wrestler. The sport was so new to the school that they didn't have a wrestling room, so the team would often travel to West High School to practice with Coach Siddons. It was there that Woolsey also practiced with Dan Gable. By Woolsey's senior year, he had begun to realize his talent when he competed at the state high school wrestling tournament.
When the high school principal, that was Richard Miles, dismissed the whole school to attend the state tournament matches that year, that I was a state champion. And I gave up, kids today, I don't know what they give up, but I cut 26 pounds to get down to weight. And during my wrestling career, I gave up drinking Pepsi, and after I won state, I was given a case of Pepsi.
As a wrestler, Woolsey enjoyed the sense of individual accomplishment and the dedication the sport required to be successful.
In wrestling, you have a team, but when you get out on the mat, you're on your own. It takes a lot of dedication, like Dan Gable had. To be a good wrestler, you have to be dedicated, and it builds a lot of confidence. And you want to, really wrestle because you want to please your family and your team and your school. That's kind of why I got into it.
Woolsey credits the discipline wrestling demands to the many successes and opportunities that led him to where he is today.
Wrestling, according to most wrestlers, if you've ever wrestled, it's some of the hardest work you've ever done. You have to be dedicated to be a good wrestler, and it's made me throughout my life do a lot of things that I didn't really think I could do.
Lowell Lang first started his wrestling career as a 7th grade student at Olwine Junior High before his family moved to Waterloo a few months later. At the time, wrestling was rising in popularity, which piqued Lang's interest in the sport.
I don't think it was anything. I just decided I wanted to go out, and I don't remember why I went out, to tell you the truth. Wrestling in Olwine was a pretty popular sport, and so I went out.
At West High School, Lang finished in 2nd place at the high school state tournament his sophomore year and was the state champion in 1945 and 1946. Before starting college at Cornell, he wrestled at the National AAU Wrestling Tournament and received his first national title. At Cornell, Lang was a member of the 1947 National Championship team. The college team went on and also secured the National AAU Wrestling title that same year. Lang became a 3-time NCAA National Champion and a 3-time National AAU Champion wrestling at 138 pounds. Lang was the type of athlete that was committed to the sport throughout his career. He also knew that having good support from coaches helped to encourage him along the way.
It's hard for me to say anyone that really influenced me. It's just something that I did automatically. Next year come along, I'd automatically compete in the sport.
Lang knows that it's important to keep a positive attitude and to continue to work hard in order for a wrestler or coach to find success on and off the mat.
Keep your chin up. I would say if you're going to be a wrestler, you got to be completely dedicated to what you're doing. A little same way with coaching too. If you're going to coach, you got to be completely dedicated too. Otherwise, you're never going to produce the teams that you should.
Marty Dickey started wrestling in 1963 while attending Edison School in Waterloo. He later wrestled under coach Bob Siddons for West High School. At West, Dickey was the 1966 state wrestling champion. Dickey is most recognizable for the contributions he made to the wrestling community through his time as a volunteer coach with the Junior Wahawk Wrestling Club. Dickey knew that in order for youth to be the best they could be, they had to compete and practice with the best.
If you take and put a lot of tough kids in a row, it's going to make everybody better. And so that's how we decided to have it a Northeast Iowa club versus just a Waterloo club.
For the many youth Dickey worked with, he knew it was a sport the young athletes wanted to participate in and excel to the best of their ability.
If a kid doesn't want to wrestle, it's too hard to push them. You can't push a kid in wrestling. It's not a fun sport. It's a rewarding sport, but it's not a fun sport. I used to tell kids that basketball's fun. You shoot the ball and watch it hit the net, and then it's exciting. Wrestling, about the time you take a kid down, then you get taken down and land on top of your head or your shoulder and you hurt yourself, and then you got to get up and keep going for the takedown. So wrestling can be a rewarding sport, self-satisfying sport, but it's a grueling sport.
The club focused on physical conditioning, techniques, strength, and mental toughness.
We wanted kids that when they hit 9th grade, they could compete with a senior in high school. And we had a lot of kids that beat a lot of seniors in high school.
For Dickey, wrestling was more than just a sport. He was teaching the youth.
Wrestling is like mini life. Let's say that you really want to do something. You set a goal, I want to be a state champion. It don't happen. What are you going to do? You have to learn to pick yourself up and move on. So wrestling was actually a tool to teach kids to survive in life.